All right, ladies and gentlemen, how are y'all doing? This is your man Orlando Page. Yes, right here on Where Music is Therapy. Where Music is Therapy, brought to you by RYC Praise News Music Group and also the Devout Jamcast. We have a special guest for you today. I didn't think I would probably ever get a chance to sit down and interview this person. I'm not sure why, but I just never thought I would have a chance to. But hey, things happen. God makes things happen too. So definitely excited about this. Um, I've been, and I'm gonna say it this way, so it will sound funny. I have been stalking this young lady for a long time on her show, which I don't think she knows how long I've been listening to her show before I made myself known that I was actually following her and listening to her. But she has an awesome show, the Devout Jamcast. Her radio voice, television voice, whatever you want to say, call it, is outstanding. I really love working with her. So without further ado, I can go on, but without further ado, Amanda Haley, aka Iceberg365 with Devout Jamcast Ministries. What's up, sister? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. I cannot complain whatsoever. Just came in from work. So hey, it's an awesome time to even be able to say that right now. You know how a lot of people are out of work and everything. So
Yeah, that's
hey,
right.
it's just awesome to be able to go to work, come home, and do the things that we love to do. So let you take the floor, and I want you to let the folks know what city are you repping, and how long have you been doing what you're doing?
So I'm from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'm originally from Minnesota. It's just about an hour across the border, but I've lived here in Sioux Falls for a little over 4 years. I've been DJing for about 7.5, and I've done the Devout Jamcast for the last 5.5 years. So you could say I'm a veteran a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You are. Oh, that's kind of funny because first started doing radio, I believe 6 years ago. So I thought you were like way ahead of me and everything. So we started around the same time. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, definitely. So you're from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Now, when I told you that I was actually born in North Dakota, I think I was playing. Did you believe me?
I was a little hesitant, but yeah, I guess after knowing you as long as I've known you now, I can say I believe that.
Oh, okay. That's why
That's
I was like,
crazy though.
yeah, I was like, man, she's from South Dakota. I was like, oh, I'm from Grand Forks, North Dakota. And my thing was, and I used to think about it when I said it. I was sitting there like, who else would just make up that name? I mean,
Yeah.
who would say that they're from North Dakota? I mean, just come out and say that they're from North Dakota. I mean,
Yeah, there's a lot cooler places to say you're from.
exactly. That was my whole point. Exactly. Yeah, I was born and grew up a little bit in Grand Forks, North Dakota. My dad was in the Air Force, so I was a military brat. So when we left North Dakota and moved directly to Germany. So that's why when I answered your Facebook post about where's the first plane ride were on,
Oh
that
yeah.
was me going to Germany. So my mom always told me that if you would have waited a little bit longer, you would have been from Germany instead of North Dakota. And I'm sitting there like, wow, I'm going through problems now trying to get my birth certificate and things of that nature from North Dakota. Just imagine me trying to get my stuff from Germany.
Yeah.
Man. But yeah, so Sioux Falls, but you're actually so are you into football, any sports or anything like that? Because I know Minnesota, you have the Vikings and things of that nature. I believe what real heavy into hockey. in that area.
Yeah.
So, are you into any sports or anything?
I was never really into too many sports. Pretty much as sporty as I got was I did when I was younger, but that's about it.
Okay. So, what got you into the martial arts? Was it a protection thing, or was it just something to get you into like the physicality of the whole thing? So, what set you up with that?
Yeah, a little bit of both. I guess I was homeschooled, so it counted as my PE, which is really why I started. But you learn a lot of cool things, a lot of discipline and integrity, and just there's a lot of things that you wouldn't think you'd learn in that, but there's a lot of good takeaways in martial arts.
Wow, awesome, awesome. I used to work at a YMCA here in town, and they had the martial arts class in there, and I used to talk to the instructor all the time. And he always tried to get me in there. I was like, I just don't have the time. And then my knees started getting bad. I was like, I don't know. But then I started seeing this older gentleman. He was a retired dentist, and he used to start coming to the martial arts class, and he stayed with it to the point where he ended up getting his first degree black belt. And I was
Oh,
like, wow, what? So I was like, there's no excuse for me. I mean, I'm just
yeah.
giving all these excuses.
Well, for the record, I'm a third degree black belt, so
Oh, awesome, awesome. Okay, folks. Hey, I got a bodyguard now. I don't need to hire anybody. So watch
that's
out.
right.
So when you were going through your class and everything, what was like one of some of the I guess what was the oldest member that you all had in your class?
My dad did it with us for a while.
Wow.
That's it. He was probably the oldest.
Okay, okay. So now that's a good segue to what I wanted to ask you about CHH and the music and things of that nature. But with you doing your show, so with you going through your karate classes, and you said it was about discipline and everything, did this give you a lot of discipline when it came to dealing with the music side of things and putting the show together?
Yeah, yeah, in a lot of ways it has helped in that too. You have patience and just dealing back and forth with people and communication skills. I taught a lot in the class, so a lot of communication skills from that and just that type of stuff. So yeah, it definitely does help.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Now, you've been, like you say, you've been doing Devout Jamcast for about 5.5 years or so. So, what are
Mhm.
some of the things that you have really taken away from doing this show? Anything either dealing with music or not dealing with music, or this, or just helping your spirituality even more. What are some of the things that you've taken away from doing this show?
I think the biggest thing I learned is there's so many great artists out there, like
Mm,
people in your own local communities. And I know that ties into City Praise News too, because there's so many underground artists that just need a chance, just need somebody to take a listen. And you can learn so much about them and so much about yourself and so much about God from just taking the time to listen to people.
yes, yes. I would agree with you 100% on that. That was one thing that I took away from doing the radio and listening to so many artists. There's so many talented artists, but the sad thing about it is a lot of them, yes, they have the talent, but they just do not. A lot of them don't know how to go past the studio. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? They go in the studio, they know how to lay it down, they're talented enough to do the music and everything, but past that, a lot of them just seem to get stuck in that,
Yeah.
in limbo a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So what are some of the things that made you go home and just, or well, you do it from your home, excuse me. That sometimes after you're doing a show, or sometimes you're going through some music or whatever, just pull. When you first started, what made you just want to pull your hair out sometimes, if you ever had that experience?
So the year that I started doing the show, they changed the laws a lot on fair use and that type of thing. So I
Hmm.
have to have written email permission, and texts aren't good enough. Facebook messages isn't good enough. And so a lot of people just getting them to get me the email Like I'd send them an email and they'd send me a Facebook message saying, "Hey, I got the email. Yeah, everything's good." And I'm like, "No, you can't do that. That doesn't count."
Wow. Okay. Okay. Now, see, that's something that I'm learning for the first time. I never knew you had to go through all of that.
Hmm. Yeah, that's something that nobody thinks about, that behind the scenes thing. That's very, very important too. Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely important. Something that, people need to know exactly what all entails. Because I know I was sitting there listening to one of your episodes, and you were going through your testimony, and you were going
Hmm.
through one time on how long it took you to do a show, to go through their bios and things of that nature. I
Hmm.
know you were saying anywhere between 3 to 4, maybe 5 hours, something that you put towards doing a show.
Yeah. Yeah. I really want to know the artists and not just know enough to make them a segment on a 20-minute show, but I want to truly know them and truly grow alongside them and see their story and why they're doing what they're doing. And it's more than just the music, too.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So, that's what I always wanted to ask you. Why do you keep it at like maybe 15 minutes to 20-minute segments? Did it just work out that way, or is that just the time that you allotted for the show itself?
For the most part, it does just seem to work out that way. But I've noticed that a lot of people won't listen to a longer show. At least that was true for me. And maybe at some point I would get to the place where people would listen to a longer show. But I kind of tossed around the idea of a 30-minute show or an hour show, and it just seemed like nobody really wanted to listen to all of that.
Hmm. You know what? I think you're absolutely 100% correct on that.
Hmm.
I think shorter is better a lot of times, especially if you're packing it full of great information.
Yeah,
And a person will sit there and they'll listen to it. But even if a show is a little bit longer, as long as you're keeping the person's attention, you
right.
know, then that works out. But yeah, doing a shorter show and the way that you're doing it, I love it. I love the way that you introduce the artists and you have their music and things of that nature. A question that I always wanted to ask you: are you ever going to go into interviewing any artists, or are you just going to stick with the segments the way that you have it set up now?
I get requests to do interviews pretty regularly, but I just can't bring myself to do it because I feel like there's so many podcasts out there that do that. And so I've
Mm.
always just really wanted to be different.
Okay, okay. I do understand that 100%. I understand that, and I know you're not talking about my podcast that do interview. No, I'm joking with you. No, I'm joking with you. But that is true. I mean, there's a lot of podcasts that do interviews, and it's like,
Mhm.
I mean, sometimes I sit here and pull my hair out, like, okay, what can I bring to the table that's going to be different than somebody else's interview? But
Right.
then I sit back and I think about it. I was like, well, me. I mean, because
Yeah,
there's nobody else who's going to be me. You
that is
know,
true.
certain questions that I ask, a lot of people always say, "Oh man, I've never been asked that before," and the person's
Mhm.
been around for a minute, and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Wow, really?" I mean, but when I try to do a show like this, I try to do a show and make the person feel like, "Hey, we're friends for a while, even if it's the first time I've ever spoken to them. We've been friends for a while. We're just sitting here chatting on the phone. That's it."
Yeah. Hmm.
you know that is it. Oh yeah, that's right. I always wanted to ask you this: what is the correlation, or what is the relationship with you and Lecrae and Andy Mineo and things of that nature? Because it seems like you all used to have, or you may still do, I don't know, but used to have like a close knit, not close like buddy friends, but where,
Yeah.
where you just met them at a show or something, or how did all of that come about?
Yeah, I've done a couple of meet and greets at concerts, but I remember Andy Mineo came to Sioux Falls. I was just getting started DJing, and it was his first kind of headlining tour. and he did a meet and greet, and not a lot of people showed up here in Sioux Falls on a Thursday night. Nobody's really into that type of thing. There was
What? Sioux
maybe a couple
Falls? What?
dozen people. I know, right? I was all about it. I took the day off of work. I got here early. I was the very first in line, and I was so surprised. But there was maybe 20 and 24 people in the meet and greet. Like, we played dodgeball with him, and we did just a long Q&A because we had so much time because there was so fewer people than they were expecting. And at that point, I'd kind of had a difficult time being a female in the DJing industry, and just kind of all of the flack you catch for that, like people saying, oh, you really think you can do this, and that type of stuff. So I asked him about that, asked him if he'd ever come into people who said, oh, you're just a Christian, you're just this, that's all you do. And he gave me the best answer and just told me to be unique in the things that I do. And it really meant a lot to me, and it saved me from quitting DJing at that point. So that's kind of the closeness there and the draw that I have to him there, and why I'm such a big fan.
Okay, awesome, awesome. I can see that now. I can see that definitely. See, I wouldn't have never got a chance to even find that out without having you here on the show. Now, earlier today, I recorded a little podcast, and I was talking about my first major breakup from a relationship, and what song that triggered me. Whenever I think of that song, I think of that person or that breakup. And then also a song that just makes me happy and everything. The song, as far as the breakup, was, and I'm not sure you know it or not. You probably will know it, but it's by Prince, and it's called Thunder. Have you ever heard of it?
Yep, I've heard that one.
Okay, I love that song. For whatever reason, I've always been drawn to that song, and it may be because of the breakup or whatever, but it's kind of weird. But I love that song, and because somebody would probably want to fight me over this or whatever, but I actually believe that song is a better song than Purple Rain. I really do. I really, really do. But hey, I'm gonna leave. That's just my opinion. And and the song that makes me happy, I can't remember the name of it. I keep on trying to remember the name of it, but the person that sings it, and is one of my favorite artists, and it may be the North Dakota coming out of me, I don't know, but it's my favorite. One of my favorite artists is Barry Manilow. So. Okay. When I tell people that Barry Manilow is one of my favorite artists, folks look at me like, "Real? Are you telling the truth? Really?" I was like, "Yeah, really." For those of you that are listening right now, and you've never seen a picture of me, I am a black guy, so that's the reason why I said that. That's the reason why I said that. But okay, let's go on. So what song, and you don't have to tell me about a breakup or anything, but what song triggers your interest? What song really does it for you? Since this is, where music is therapy, what song gives you that therapy, that's therapeutic to get up and get going, or even if it just chills you out, mellows you out? What song or songs does that for you?
Yeah. So Andy Mineo has one called I Ain't Done. I don't know if you've heard that one. Probably have, maybe. But he wrote it in a time of depression, and when he was making a comeback out of that. Because his concern when he went through that period of depression is that you're taking a break. The pressure on artists, even like what we do, is to take a break or not to take a break, even when mentally or spiritually you need that break, but you always think that your fan base isn't going to be there when you get back. So Andy kind of talked about that struggle that he had there. And so that song really is just a reminder of, as long as there's breath in my lungs, we're not done, and God's not done with you yet. And so that is one of the ones that has just always been an anthem for me since it's came out.
Okay, amen. I'm gonna have to look that song up. I'm not sure if I heard it tonight. Can you rap a little bit of it? No, I'm joking.
No.
Oh, don't. Okay, now.
Maybe in North Dakota we do that, but in South Dakota we don't.
Oh, wow. That's funny. Okay. Okay. 2 points for you. You got me. You got me. But but I was getting ready to I was getting ready to say, remember, I have been stalking you before you even knew I was looking at your shows. Nah, I'm not gonna scare you. But there is one show on YouTube or your YouTube channel that you put up that I was looking at, and I was like, look at her doing her thing. The one that you were lip syncing a song.
Okay, yep, I remember
Yeah.
that.
I
Yep.
was like, man, she is doing her thing. I was like, look at her. Okay, okay. Look at that.
Yep, my hometown hosted a lip sync battle, and so I did that 2 or 3 years in a row, I think. Different songs each time, of course, but yeah, that's super fun.
Wow, that is awesome, awesome, awesome. So I don't want to take up all of your time, but I do want to let you know thank you very much for being you. Thank you very much for being the most you that you can be, and also doing all the things that you're doing for for RYC, for just for the gospel industry in itself, man. I mean, I think a lot of times a lot of us that aren't like big names like Rapzilla and places like that or whatever,
Mhm.
we don't get a lot of our flowers now. Excuse me. So I want to make sure that I'm giving you your flowers now. I really appreciate everything you do for me. I appreciate everything that you're doing for the artists out there, even if they don't know what you're doing. I
Mhm.
really appreciate the work and the time and the grind that you put in to make your show the best show possible. Not only time, but you're putting in money, you're putting in
Mhm.
effort. And a lot of people don't understand how much time and money and effort we put into what we're doing. And for a person that does know, I appreciate you and I really thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I love the community in RYC Praise News and the community that the Devout Jamcast has established over the years. It means a lot to me too. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, before I let you go and start kicking somebody in the head or something for not giving you a big tip, but nah. But what is something that if somebody else, a young lady or even a young boy came to you and say, I saw what I saw your videos. I really think it's cool what you're doing. How can I how can I do something like that? Because I keep being told I can't. What is
Yeah,
some word of advice that you would give to them?
I would say just do it. Just don't even think about the people who say you can't do it because there's always going to be those people out there. Those people are just haters and they don't have a say in what you do with your life. If God is calling you to do it, then he'll make a way for you to get it done.
Mm. Amen. Amen. And that is so true. Y'all need to go back into the archives on some of these shows for the Devout Jamcast because Iceberg 365, she really goes deep into why she's doing it, how long she's been doing it for, the times that she almost stopped and things of that nature. I mean, it's just awesome to hear her testimony and to hear her story about it. Also, why the name Iceberg 365?
Club Penguin, Disney had an online virtual world where you were a penguin, and that was my username on there. So when I started DJing, when I went public, my parents didn't want me using my real name. So I was like, okay, this is what I got. And it stuck.
Okay, okay. Well, so I apologize then. I shouldn't have never been using your real name.
Yeah, people do it both ways. It's all good.
Man, so how does your parents, because I know your parents are intricate in, working with you on this and everything. How do they feel about how far you've come from where you started off with the Devout Jamcast?
They're pretty proud.
That's
They
good.
Yeah, they gave me everything. They equipped me to do it just however I needed. Dad helped me figure out how to run gear, and he used to come with me to every live show and help me set stuff up, and just they've put work in too, so I'm very thankful.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. So is there anything that you would like to say to the folks or to anybody out there before I let you go?
Well, actually, I have a question for you. How did you first
Uh-oh.
find my show?
You know what? That is very hard question to answer. Um I believe because a lot of times when I'm just sitting around the house or something, I'll just scroll through YouTube and I'll look at different things on YouTube, look at different music videos and stuff. And I believe I want to say that one of your videos popped up. It either excuse me, pardon me. It either popped up while I was scrolling on YouTube, or I saw one of your posts or something on Facebook. 100
Okay.
tell you the truth, I do not remember exactly when, but I do believe it was when I was scrolling through YouTube though.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, yeah, and ever since then, I think, to be honest with you, I was listening to the show and everything, and I had this phone sat down, and I saw you when you came on, and I sat the phone down, and I've always said you got such a dynamic voice, to do what you're doing and everything. And I love the setup. I love how how everything was worked out and stuff. So that's what drove me back to keep listening again. And then sometimes I'll stop listening and then I'll see a post or something. Then I'm like, oh, okay, I know that artist. And then I'll go listen again. That's what I think it may have been. You may have posted an artist that I knew and I ended
Okay.
up going and checking out the show. So I,
Yeah.
I think that might be it because I started knowing like Yul Netter and His Name and Doctrine and a lot of them around the same time. I think you started sharing their music. So I think it was a thing of me supporting them. And then I stumbled across
Oh,
you
I see how it
and
is.
but see, hey, I'm stuck with supporting them, and I'm stuck with supporting you throughout
Hey,
these
that's
all
right.
these years. But yeah, yeah, I believe that's what it was, though. I believe that's what it was. I think you shared some of their music or something. I was like, oh, let me check that out. And bam, because I think I always wanted to get you on the radio. Whenever I've always had a radio station, I always wanted to get your show on the radio. But a lot of times it takes me a while to muster up. Even with anybody, it takes me a while to muster up that I guess courage to even talk to the person or ask them. So,
Yes.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, and look at us now.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Okay, excellent, excellent, caliente. Oh well, no, I have another question. Then I'm gonna let you go. Um, so what is your most favorite thing to cook when you have the time and you're at home to do it?
I love seafood. Probably shrimp,
Mm,
my favorite. Yeah.
mm. Okay, okay. Well, if we were going out cooking or something like that, or going out or whatever, you can have all the shrimp.
Hmm.
I deal with gout, so I can't have too much shrimp. So you can have
Ah.
all of that. Yeah. So, but I love it too. I love seafood, and when they told me that I had to scale back on how much I was eating because of the gout, I was like, oh my goodness. Mm-mm-mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, that hurt my feelings to the core. But
Yeah,
hey, better to scale that back than to be walking around like a big old balloon and hurting.
that's true.
Exactly. So once again, thank you very much, Iceberg365 of the Devout Jamcast and RYC Praise News Report. Man, it's been awesome sitting down with you.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you so much.
Oh, before I let you go, let the folks know if they want to send you music or anything, how can they go about doing so and getting on your show?
Yeah, you can shoot me an email, the Devout Jamcast at gmail.com, and you can go to Iceberg365ministries.org to listen to the show.
All right. Y'all heard it. That's right. Let's get it. All right, now you have a good night. Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
All
See
right.
ya.
See ya.
Bye.